Hey everyone, it's Shauna. How are y'all doing? I am so glad you decided to join me today. So it's spring right around the corner. We're all getting a little spring fever and we're all dreaming about what we can plant. And if you're new to gardening, I know the choices can feel a bit overwhelming. Let's make sure you pick the right plants that are going to thrive in your area. But first, let's talk about the two main plant types, perennials and annuals. Think of your perennials as a long-term relationship. Many perennials will die back to the ground in the winter and you think they're gone, but underground the root system is still alive and well. Once the soil warms up in the spring, they usually come back better and bigger than ever. And the pros, you only have to buy them once and they're the bones of your garden. Then there's annuals. Think of annuals as your summer romances. Annuals normally complete their entire life cycle from germination, blooming, and producing seed in just one growing season. Once the first frost hits, they are done for good. They are blooming machines and will normally bloom from spring until fall until the first frost. Now that you know the difference between perennials and annuals, now we're going to take a look at the USDA hardiness zones and what that's going to mean for you when you're out shopping for your plants. So to find your plant hardiness zone, go to Google and just type in plant hardy zone. Click OK, and then the search results will populate. Click the link that says USDA Plant Hardiness Zone Map. And if you look at the link, it'll say .gov at the end. The first time you open the link, you're going to see a little box that you can check that says don't show this again. So check the box and click OK. Once you do that, you can enter your zip code and hit enter, and it's going to populate your plant hardy zone below. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll come to this chart. And as you can see, I am in zone 8. The minimum average winter temperature is between 10 and 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So the plant hardiness zone map is based on the average annual extreme minimum winter temperature. And it's displayed as 10 degrees Fahrenheit zones ranging from 1, which is the coldest, to zone 13, which is the warmest. And each zone is then divided into half zones designated as A and B. For example, 7A and 7B are 5-degree Fahrenheit increments representing the colder and warmer halves of zone 7 respectively. These designations serve as a convenient label or shorthand for communicating and comparing the extreme winter temperatures within the United States and Puerto Rico. They're typically listed within the descriptions of perennial plants in catalogs and other sales information produced by commercial nurseries, plant suppliers, etc. So if you scroll back up just a little bit and you'll see to view or print national, regional, or state plant hardiness zone map. If you click on that link, then it's going to bring up this US map. You can then go to your state and click on anywhere within that state, and then it's going to bring up this box. Click on the link, whichever resolution, and then this will bring up a regional map of your area. I've circled the general area that I'm in, and then if you go down here, you can see by the color coding, I'm in zone 8A. Now that I've shown you how to find your growing zone, let's dive into what they all mean. All plant hardiness zone maps should serve as a general guide for growing perennial plants. They're based off the average lowest temperatures, not the lowest ever. Zones on the USDA map are based from 1991 to 2020 weather data. This doesn't represent the coldest it's ever been or ever will be in an area, but it is simply the average lowest winter temperatures for a given location for this 30-year span. So what this means is growing plants at that extreme range of the coldest zone where they've adapted means that they could experience a year with a rare extreme cold snap that just lasts a day or two, and plants that may have thrived happily for years could be lost. Gardeners need to keep that in mind and understand that past weather records can't provide a guaranteed forecast for future variations in the weather. A perfect example of this, in the past 5 years, we've had at least 2 winters that have fallen below my minimum temperature in zone 8A, which is 10 degrees, such as the cold snap we just had here a couple of weeks ago. And the weather in my zip code got down to 7 degrees. So what this means, if I have a perennial plant that is only hardy to a zone 8A down to 10 degrees, and we have that unusually cold winter, and it falls below that 10 degrees, like 7 degrees, that means that my plant that's only hardy down to 10 degrees could be severely damaged or may not survive and come back at all. Could your plant survive still if it only drops under by a couple of degrees? Possibly, depending on how tough the plant is, how well it recovers, how long it was exposed. But even if it didn't die completely, it could be severely damaged. So if you want to ensure your perennial plants will survive your winters, it's best to always choose one that's hardy, 1 to 2 zones below yours, so that way you can give that plant a buffer in the event that you have a very extreme winter one year. Now, there are times when I will buy a plant considered a perennial for my zone, and I don't follow that rule of buying 1 to 2 zones under, but I do use some guidelines around that. So my rule of thumb is simple. If it's easy to dig up and cheap to replace, and it's a fast grower, it'll grow to full size or almost full size within 1 season, I'm willing to take the risk. But for anything that's more of a permanent foundation plant, shrub, ornamental trees that are a little more costly, harder to dig up, I'm more cautious. Always buy plants rated for at least 1 to 2 zones colder than mine. That way, even if we hit those record-breaking freezes, I know my investment is protected. All right, everyone, that'll do it for today's video. And I really hope this video helped to clear up any confusion that you may have had when it comes to perennials versus annuals or the USDA hardiness zones. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And until the next one, take care. Bye.